maybe there are many family ties between Ukraine and Russia. These Russian officers, these Russian officials in Moscow are making a deliberate decision to kill innocent civilians in a peaceful neighboring country, again, where there are many connections and many bonds. There are war crimes being committed. We saw some today in these images. The world is watching. These war crimes will be prosecuted at some point. So I would urge these officials in Moscow and these commanders in the field to think carefully about the decisions they're making and to think about whether they should be refusing orders to kill innocent civilians in their neighboring country that want nothing more than peace. So I hope that somehow this message can be communicated to those who are making these decisions that are causing this mass devastation and killing so many innocent civilians.
Senator Portman, what do you hope President Biden accomplishes when he goes to NATO next week?
You guys want to talk about it? I don't want to dominate here.
No, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm glad he's going to NATO, and I hope he will actually go to some of the frontline countries, not just to Brussels, because I think he needs to feel it and see it and talk to the refugees. And, you know, I think, having just been to Poland, it is incredibly powerful to hear from these people directly, all of whom wanted to stay in their homeland, all of whom want to go back to their homeland, none of whom want to be leaving their loved ones at home, because in almost every case it was women and children, grandmothers and grandchildren, and the men have stayed behind to fight. So it's heartbreaking. So I hope he will go not just to Brussels and talk to the EU and, you know, be in a nice office building, but actually go to some of these frontline countries. And he probably will. I hope he does. The message ought to be that America is leading. You know, we thank our NATO allies for what they have done, but we obviously need to do more. And we're at a crucial point in this war. If we don't step up and do more, as a group, including, as I said, many of these countries that are former Warsaw Pact countries that have the weapons that Ukraine can use immediately, then we will have failed. So I hope he leads and lets people know that the United States of America stands with Ukraine and that we will do everything possible, and we want and expect the NATO allies to do it with us. Second, energy. This is a very difficult discussion because, let's face it, they're a lot more dependent on Russian oil and gas than we are. But they have to make a decision. Are you for tyranny? Because that's basically what you're saying if you are going to continue to be dependent on Russian oil and gas. He uses it as a political weapon. Always has. Talk to the people of Moldova or Ukraine or Germany for that matter. And this is a tough issue. I get it. I agree that we should be providing more of our energy to the Europeans to substitute for some of this. But there are other countries that are willing to as well. Qatar, as you know, has made that offer. Others have. So that's another part of the message here, is that we should not be fueling the war machine by giving Vladimir Putin all this revenue. It's his number one export, remember. It's the primary way in which he developed this foreign reserve that he thought he was going to be able to access, that luckily, because of sanctions, much of it is now off limits. It's oil and gas. And that discussion needs to happen in a honest, serious way during these meetings with NATO.